Hour 2 Overdrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan, little Shaggy into the long weekend.
This was a pretty good number.
Great track.
Song.
This is a great track. He had some bangers, I'm telling you, man. Like Shaggy
This was
could get
like
a club popping.
1:15 a.m.
I think this is his only good tune. I can't remember. Angel, maybe. Oh, you're my angel.
Yeah,
That's
was a
the
good
other one.
one.
That was a good tune. Yeah.
I got a couple, man. I'll send a few to Doogie because Doogie and
Yeah.
JP and Joe have no idea who Shaggy
Not
is.
Doogie.
Doogie
Yeah.
and JP are useless.
Exactly.
They
They
really
are
don't
that.
know.
But what
good
I'm
music
curious
is all
about is the Janet Jackson one. So float that one to JP, and
Okay.
next break, he better come in with it.
I will. I'll make sure to have it. You guys, once you hear it, you'll know it. You can't
Yeah,
miss
that's
it.
fair.
You can't miss it. Good tune. Shaggy was pretty good, and I guess he's at the ballpark tonight, taking in Jays Yankees, and he's performing in Toronto tomorrow. So everyone's welcome. Come on down. Come on down to the Jays game tonight.
So I wasn't on the show when you get in the golf last week. The protesters ran on. Apparently, the Blue Jays It's
Yeah,
enough
they
with
had
these people.
protesters again last night.
Like it's enough. It's
I know.
driving me during sports events. It's enough. I'd like to see harder fines or rubber bullets and all of these types of stuff like tasers. Get them out of there. It's driving me
It's not going to
nuts
stop
watching.
anything.
I
People
know,
are going to do what they're going to do. It's what's annoying. What is crazy about the sporting event is that you buy tickets to go in to
Yeah.
get arrested.
Yeah.
And literally no one cares about the cause. That's the thing. I don't even know what they were protesting. There's a perfect example. I know they jumped over the was it the left field fence or whatever?
Yeah.
I have no idea what the issue was.
Nobody
that
cares.
They were
That's
trying
the problem.
to promote.
They're just idiots, and it just drives me nuts because you're guys are just trying to play, and fans are just there to escape life and watch a sporting event. And there's jackasses that do that. It just drives me nuts. I get so disappointed in people. But,
You're so disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know. What are you going to do? It
Nothing.
doesn't stop
Can't
the
do
game. The
anything.
game continues.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything in terms of actually promoting a
No.
thing. So whatever. All right, Mike Johnson coming up here in a moment. Jays Yankees tonight, and again the draft is tonight. Down in Vegas, the awards were last night. Shout out to Nathan McKinnon, who won the Ted Lindsay and the Hart. So, in a year where McDavid was great, Matthews was great, Kucherov was great, McKinnon was unbelievable. Obviously, he was incredible. And not only the voters, but also his fellow players around the league said effectively the same thing. That's the man. That's the guy this year.
Yeah.
That's the company that he should be in. He's a 1 of 1 this season, which is pretty incredible, again, that McDavid and Kucherov had 100 assists and Matthews had 69 goals and McKinnon won.
Yeah.
McKinnon won
And
the
there
Hart
was also
and the
talk
Ted Lindsay.
if Matthews somehow got to 70, it was his. It was a lock. You score 70, you're winning the Hart. And he got 69.
69, you don't get nominated.
Yeah.
You're not in the top 3. It's either you win it
But
or
do you
you're not in
remember
the top
that
3.
talk? You get 70 goals. Everyone, a lot of pundits were like, I can't see someone taking the Hart off a guy with 70 goals. Not even nominated.
Yeah.
Well-
I mean, there was 4 guys that probably could have, including a 5th. I think Hellebuck deserved love too. There was an easy 5-pack there where you wouldn't have been surprised. If
I
one of
agree.
those
Quinn
guys
Hughes,
took it
I
home.
think. What
Yeah,
I
you're
did
right, Quinn
find
Hughes.
surprising is someone voted for Charlie Lindgren in the top 5. Did you see that?
I did not
Don't
see
even
that.
get me
Lindgren.
started, man. Don't even get me
That's
started.
a Washington Scribe. They might have to. I mean, all of those votes are now publicized. You can see who.
Why would you
voted for who.
embarrass yourself like that?
Right.
because that-
he had a
that
good
guy-
year. Good for him. But seriously, Charlie Lindgren
Yeah.
is what, ahead of who? McDavid? I got to have McDavid outside of top 5 for Charlie Lindgren.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
who's
missed
the
that
comedian that says, "Aren't you embarrassed?"
That's
Yeah.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Aren't you embarrassed doing that?
Yeah.
We should do a
evidently
segment,
not.
Aren't you embarrassed?
Aren't you embarrassed? That would be one of them. Because Lindgren had a great year. Good for him. Good for him. But I'm sure if you're Lindgren, you're like, dude, don't include me in this. I don't want
Don't
to
be
have to talk
stupid.
about it.
Don't be stupid.
Don't do that, please. Let's not be children here, right? As
Yeah.
Trump might say. Let's not be children. You're not a 6. I've seen your swing.
Yeah.
I've seen your swing. You're not a 6.
I know your
Yeah.
swing.
I know your swing. You're not. You can't hit the ball 50 yards.
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
We have to use that for life.
Yeah, we're going to play the extended clip, too, where he talks about winning the club championship twice. And not the senior.
Yeah.
Not the senior Club C. The regular Club C. And that means he's fit for office, right? Because his game is dialed in. He's got a great short game right now. That means he's suitable for the Oval Office. Here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. What's happening, Johnny?
What's going on? I love how the sports talk infiltrated the debate. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It was the one thing everyone could relate to. Okay, they're seem two normal guys arguing about their golf game. Okay,
right.
The first time they seemed normal. Other than that, it was a gong show. So yeah, raking in 12-footers in the club championship will get you the club championship every single time.
Well, and you know what's coming out of this now, because this is the world we live in. Now people are posting stuff online I work in the bag shop at Joe Biden's club. I've seen him do this. I work with, at Trump's club. I saw him show up. So now you're going to get all these anonymous, testimonies to how these guys play golf.
Cheat.
Yeah, exactly. It matters at all. There's so much going on in the world. Yeah, it's proof that you get two guys that play golf, they will find a way to talk about it and chirp each other about it.
Dude, Hayes, you know what I did? I was with Noodles Monday night, final game 7, right? Fly home Tuesday. I attempted for my first day on vacation to play 54 holes, all 3 courses at TPC Toronto on Wednesday, when I haven't played golf in 8 months. I haven't hit a ball since last year. I went for 54 holes out of the gate.
Wow.
Very ambitious.
Good for you. Those are great courses, too.
I survived. I went right to the cottage, sat in the hot tub for an hour and a half, trying to loosen things up. But game was scratchy at best, but beautiful courses, gorgeous. I mean, the Canadian Open's there next year. It'll be pretty cool to see him up there. But yeah, it was. I've never played more than 36 in a day. It was kind of a summer solstice kind of thing. So we tried it, but yeah, nice courses. Game not nearly as nice as the courses.
Okay. I appreciate that. And yeah, I've never tried that. I played 36 and I'm dying by the end of that. But 54 is different.
I could barely look at the ball. I was seeing 3 balls trying to putt it.
That's a different
I couldn't see anything.
So where are we at here? I guess your reaction to the awards last night, I don't think anyone's surprised McKinnon won. But the fact that he won the Ted Lindsay, that can always be different, how the players and his cohorts around the league feel about him. This is in a season where McDavid had 100 assists, Kucherov 100 assists, Matthews 69 goals, and the whole league, or the majority of the league, looked at McKinnon and said, no, you're the man.
Yeah, I don't think it's that surprising. Without McDavid going, it was McKinnon or it was going to be Matthews. I think it was going to be one of those two guys because the goal scorer, the totals that Austin put up were so great that I think that could potentially have swayed the players. And Noodles, you know what it's like in the dressing room, where they hand out the forms for that.
Yep.
There's not a deep dive, Hayes, going on for these votes. It's give me a pen, give me the scoring list. He's first. They don't really look at it that closely. So I'm not surprised he got it. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. I think he did, but. The only guy I thought who might have a chance would have been Austin, not Connor, not Kuch or any of those guys. But he probably did deserve it. You think about what Colorado had. No Landeskog, Nichushkin in and out of the lineup and hurt a lot of the year. Lehkonen hurt a lot of the year. Yes, Makar, yes, Rantanen. But they were carried by Nate McKinnon in that top group. And he was unbelievable. 50 goals for the first time, racked up monstrous point totals. You won't find any complaints from me that he won it sort of convincingly.
Started the season with a 35-game home point streak.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man.
Yeah, pretty good player, and one of 6 players to be announced for Canada's team, I guess, for the Four Nations face-off.
Hey, guys.
Go ahead.
How are we feeling about Marchand, one of the first 6?
We discussed that. His age, I think he's going to be on the team.
But just is there nobody else that would warrant?
Who would be the guy?
That's where I was going to ask. Who is taking that? Who's the other spot that you had in mind? Outside of Marchand.
I like that. I like Brad Marchand being selected there because it's part of the regime of winning, and he's a veteran guy, and he's part of the core group, and he's on the team. I like the selection a lot. Johnny?
So, you're locking in Sid, and Brad Marchand and somebody, not Nate McKinnon, despite his best wishes. Like, these are the guys. They know how to win. Don't kid yourself. They're going to be there.
That's what I like. Yes.
I'm not convinced if other players, like, does he have to be in your top 6? Like, maybe he's somewhere farther down. Like, this
doesn't mean you're definitely playing 25 minutes a night. It just means you're on the team. The only guy I could think of that, like, would Hyman deserve that? I don't, like, not historically based on what he's done, but he's playing, and he's playing with McDavid. Like, the guy had 50 goals, and he just had an unbelievable playoff run. If they snuck Hyman in there instead of Marchand, how would you react to that?
Probably more stronger than, well, we get he's on the team, but, like, there's sort of and this is what I was talking about, there's sort of a cachet to being one of the first 6 guys. Like, you are what this team's all about. You are what Hockey Canada's all about. You warrant, with your history and your success, being one of the first 6, even if you might not be, on the first power play. You get that. And if Hyman got it, you'd be like, well, I mean, he's got to play, but, we got to have somebody else besides him. But I'm looking at, the Canadian players. I don't know. I mean, Sam Reinhart, is he gonna make the team, guys? Reinhart
got to make the team. He had 57 goals. He just won the cup. He's 28,
and he had the cup game winner with a dozen playoff goals. But what if next year at Christmas he has what we probably expect, like 18 goals?
Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, what if they put Bedard in the 6?
No.
Instead of Marchand,
I
Bedard.
think that's rich. Like, I think that's still a bit rich.
No, that's not right. Hayes, having watched him at the Worlds, he's so talented. But in this kind of tournament, in this kind of competition, he has to show growth before he gets there. So in reality, who should be there instead of Brad Marchand is Mitch Marner. Like, that is probably the most likely guy, the most prime candidate to be joining those other. If you're going to put Nate and Connor and Sid and Braden Point and Cale Makar, I think we all can agree those 5 are sort of like, those are locks, those are no-brainers, those are the top 5.
So, Johnny, if you had that one position and you got a phone call and said you have to fill this position and it's a right wing spot and it's Reinhart or Mitch Marner, who are you filling the spot with?
I'd put Mitch Marner.
I'd put Reinhart.
Yeah. Reinhart just scored 57 goals and won the Stanley Cup. Am I missing something?
I mean, what's the expression? He scored 57, but he's not a 50-goal scorer. You know what I mean? Like, I would be surprised if he got 50 again. I think Mitch Marner is a better player than Sam Reinhart, even though Reinhart had a better year than Mitch Marner. So, yeah, I think at that level, at that kind of tournament, I think Mitch Marner would be a guy I would take. Yeah,
but does playing on that? I guess you know what? It's a good debate. But does playing deep into the playoffs factor? Like, Brad Marchand's there because he's a winner, and he's proven that he can win on the biggest stages. Mitch Marner hasn't done that yet, collectively with a team, albeit with a team, not just individually.
Yeah, what kind of big stage performance is going into that comment, Johnny?
Well, I will say that, so Brad Marchand has won, a cup in 2011, and they only got a cup in, 19, they got to the final. They lost Game 7 at home. But, Mitch Marner hasn't had the chance to be a prominent player because there's been no international play. We can't say, well, Mitch was great in the Olympics, Mitch was great in the World Cup, because he hasn't played in those things, but I would guess that he probably would be pretty good in those tournaments because, I don't want to go back to the Memorial Cup. That might be a bit of a stretch, but he was really good in those playoffs, and he's a really good player. Who might have not had he's a point-a-game player in the playoffs. Way more points per game. Now, that's not the be-all, end-all. He's got more points per game than Brad Marchand in their playoff careers.
Yeah, but
I'm not
Brad Marchand.
But it's not like he's a dog. He had a tough playoff, and he's had a couple of tough moments in his career. But I think he's going to be on the team for sure. And I think that his high-end game and the fact that he's faster than Sam Reinhart, which is mostly my concern for Sam Reinhart.
The other thing, didn't Marchand score the game-winning goal in the World Cup, was it?
World Cup, the short-handed one, right? In the final against Team World or whatever,
I think
Team Europe.
That's the only thing where I go with Marchand is that we've seen him on the biggest stages, regardless of whether it's 8 years ago or not, where Mitch Marner hasn't. And you're right. I think he deserves to be there. It will be his first opportunity.
Sure.
Yeah, it'll be his first opportunity to play in these types of situations. And maybe this will be good for him to feel these type of pressure, different type of pressure. And if he excels, maybe it'll help his playoff game. Because, yeah, you're right, point a game in the playoffs, but he had 3 points in a 7-3 loss against Tampa 2 years ago, which were nothing points. Like, to me, Matthew Tkachuk didn't have a ton of points, but he was really effective when Florida needed him. Like, the points aren't the end-all, be-all. It's how effective you can be in a 2-1 game.
Great comment, Noodles.
That's the difference for me. That's a great comment.
It is a great comment. It is.
It just, like, I watch, Johnny, you and I were at these games. Like it wasn't about who was getting points. It's like who was going to make a really big play, whether it was an assist or a block or something in a 2-1 game. That was the difference for me in watching. And that's what experience does for some of these guys. In talking to the Sam Bennett's and Matthew Tkachuk and Verhaeghe after the game when they were like, man, and we don't care about – it was just about winning, whatever we could do to contribute. So I think Mitch needs to go through that process, and maybe this will help him in his playoff career in a big stage like this.
Yeah, for sure. But, like, so much of that is sort of results-driven. What if Edmonton scored at the end when McDavid standing in front and they win in overtime? Like, would you be feeling that way about Carter Verhaeghe, who had gone, like, it was minus 12 in the series and hadn't scored in 7 games? Like, yeah, they won. So it's like, oh, he did all those little things to win. Well, of course they won. You cannot debate that. And I'm not suggesting for a second that a guy like Matthew Tkachuk in a big game more than Mitch Marner. Okay, I'll give you that much. But it's so results-driven how you see the little things. When you do little things and you don't win, you're like, well, where's the points? But when you do little things and you do win because your goalie's great or because whatever, the other goalie lets in a greasy one from Reinhart, now all of a sudden you're a winner by doing little things. Not just, that's how everyone perceives everything, by the end result, not necessarily by the process to get there. So
yeah,
I'm not here to defend Mitch Marner. He wasn't great in the playoff series against Boston. He's had a couple tough moments, but generally speaking, like, he's a pretty good player. He's had some really big moments, and he belongs on this team. And Brad Marchand had 67 points this year, played every single game. Mitch Marner, in his down year, had 85 in 69 games. He was on pace for 102 points. Marchand had 67.
You're putting a lot of focus on point totals,
Kyrie,
Johnny.
As Dylan Strome, as Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I'm
You're putting a lot of emphasis on point totals, Johnny. I'm just saying. I will say that. I'm just saying.
Would you
are
like
putting
to go to the analytics behind the numbers?
Well, I'm not doing that today, but
okay, we'll do that on a different day. And point being, on this team, Brad Marchand's not playing on the power play. He's not there to score points. He's there to check, kill penalties, bring energy, and he does that exceptionally well still.
So is Mitch. Mitch's not going to be on the power play either. Who's he going to be? Who's he taking off the power play?
No, it's a very fair point. He probably won't be on there either. True point. Although Mitch Marner, to his defense, what did he finish in the Selke? 4th? 3rd?
Oh, he's great killing penalties. And by the way, they do have to have a second unit to go out there and do something.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a debate he's on the team. I think there's a debate as to why, Marchand as opposed to, and I think people do look at
Noodles,
history.
I'm not even talking about Marchand. These guys are all good players. I'm just saying, the idea of looking at Reinhart, what he did this year, and how someone would look at that and say, I'm taking that guy over another player, like a guy over Reinhart. The guy just scored 57 and scored the game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup and was an integral part. I don't know. We talk about
2 years in them.
And we're talking about all these tournaments and past tournaments. The only tournaments that's been going on lately is the Stanley Cup playoffs, and that's your only sample size to look at as far as performance. That's the only tournament that's been played, and that's what you got to look at.
Thanks for watching the World Championship, so appreciate that.
Yeah, well, that's where I stand.
I watched it.
I have a different view on it, but I get the Spengler Cup, everything. I'm in on everything.
Yeah,
maybe we should bring Struddy in for the Stanley Cup performance.
For the Spengler. Well, let me ask you guys this, all right? Only one defenseman announced, Cale Makar. Who would be the second if you had to announce two?
Shea Theodore.
Petro? I don't know. I mean...
Noah Dobson, Bouchard, Devin Taves.
Taves is really good.
I mean, I think the next...
Morrissey.
Bouchard.
The next guaranteed guy on there is, Taves is going to be on the team, I think we know. But it's who would be the second best Canadian defenseman? This is the question, right?
Might be Bouchard after what we just saw.
Bouchard or Dobson?
Dobson was great this year. Yeah.
Like Dobson's probably a bit better defensively than Bouchard. Bouchard's exquisite with the puck, just so good. But Morrissey was 5th or 6th in Norris Trophy voting for whatever that's worth. Theodore I love, but Theodore right now, guys, is kind of on the market. Like I think he was negotiating a big deal, and he couldn't come to agreement with Vegas. Then they went and signed Hannafin for like 7.5, and he's like, well, wait a second. So, I love Shea Theodore, but I guess he might be sort of out there right now for the right price on Vegas. But yeah, I think
Vegas has got a lot of D-men on the market. Petro's available, Theodore's available.
Petro's not available.
I was just saying that you hear things that Vegas is open for business.
I'm just repeating what I heard half an hour ago.
Yeah,
I said Vegas is open for business, and they're going to move a D. So Petro's name is out there, and so is Theodore. That's what I had heard. But again, I'm not.
I like both those guys.
I think he would exercise the no move.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Vegas isn't shy to work around things like that. They're in a very aggressive team. That's the one thing, Well, but I think you're right. Who's the number 2 defenseman in Canada? Really?
I don't think there's a standout guy.
Did Drew Doughty get a little love?
I don't think he's going to make it.
Did he get a Hart Trophy vote?
Drew Doughty?
I mean, those are local scribes of people trying to Washington person.
I think I saw one 5th place vote. Maybe it could have been. I thought I saw.
I got to look that up because I love Drew Doughty.
That's a fireable offense.
He caught one late, and maybe it was for the Norris. Could have been for the Norris.
That would make more sense. If he was 5th for the Norris, I guess you could reason with that.
He had a good year. He's a good player.
Listen, he can maybe play the role of that veteran. Like I think Petrangelo's probably got the inside track on that role, but Doughty might. He might. But, yeah, it's weird. It's funny how it's happened with both positions. Like, maybe it speaks to Makar just being so much better than everyone else.
Right.
But he is your clear-cut number 1. Yet, like with the goaltending position, where there was a time where it was a battle, is it Waugh, is it Brodeur, is it Cujo, is it Luongo, is it Eddie Belfour? On defense, it was Bork, and it was Coffey, and then it was Pronger and Niedermeyer. Like there were McInnes. Right. There were always like these surefire number 1 stud Hall of Fame guys. And on Canada's defense, I don't know if you have that. Like Taves is good, Morrissey's good, Bouchard's good but youthful. Dobson, like you said, is good. I don't know though. Like these guys aren't
superstars yet. Like
they're not superstars.
Yeah. I don't know.
So Drew Doughty was 11th in Norris Trophy voting. So he picked up 4 4th-place votes and 6 5th-place votes. Okay. So there you go.
There you go.
I had Charlie Maxwell, Mathias Ekholm. All right, so listen, it's going to be Makar and Taves, right? They're going to play together. That's going to be the first pair. I think we can all probably agree to that.
Yeah.
I think Noah Dobson at this point is probably the second pair right-side defenseman. And maybe it's Shea Theodore. Maybe it's Josh Morrissey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then I put Theodore Morrissey, vice versa, on the third pair. And then do you put Doughty for leadership? Do you put Bouchard for youthful exuberance? Mm-hmm. Petro for experience? I think, then you sort of work your way down. But I think that feels like the top 6.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Yeah, exactly.
Give or take.
Now that you lay it out, it looks a lot better than it sounded when we were talking it out.
No, it's not that they're not good players.
No, Hayes. But you and I will talk about this on Monday,
yes.
I think.
Yes, we will.
And it's the U.S. team is so much better on paper, individually.
I might have some involvement in this as well. You worry.
Perhaps. I don't want to get into it too early. but the American team is so much better on paper, in goal, obviously, and even on defense. Like, Makar is the one shining beacon. He's better than everybody. But, the U.S. probably have 4 other defensemen that you could say would be number 2 on Canada.
Right.
And that's a problem. And even up front, where Canada's, you're going to say, they got McDavid, they got McKinnon, they got Crosby. Okay? That's hard. That's hard to deal with.
Yeah.
That's 1, 2, 3, as good as you're going to find. Now, you're going to counter that with Matthews, Eichel, Jack Hughes. But the wingers are, again, deeper and better on the American team than what we'll find on Canada. So it's it's different. It's sort of a transitionary thing with this national team that we're going to see new faces that are maybe not quite as known commodities internationally.
Right.
It's going to be a challenge.
For you on Monday, talking to me.
I'm not worried about it.
Yes.
I'm not worried at all.
You might want to study this weekend.
Oh, I'll be studying.
Oh.
I'll be studying our
I'll
history.
be studying too, because like I said, I might have some involvement.
Okay.
Oh, I love it. Over the top
that.
rope.
Starts at 11 a.m. on TSN, right?
We'll be there.
Can't wait for it. We'll be there Canada Day. And what are you bracing for, I guess, this weekend? Like, what might shock you that you think is – or what might shock the world to an extent, relatively speaking, that you think is actually a possibility of happening?
Patrik Laine gets traded for a top 10 pick tonight.
Laine for a top 10 pick.
What?
Top 20? Top 20?
I wouldn't trade a second-round pick for Patrik Laine.
Patrik Laine gets traded for a pick tomorrow?
Okay, fine, maybe.
For a pick tomorrow, then.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Laine, I mean, I don't know what's the market for him.
Like, I have no idea.
I'm
What's
rooting for
left
the
on
guy.
what's left on his deal?
4 years, isn't it?
I don't know what it is.
I don't think it's that much.
The guy is so talented, it's almost worth sniffing around, but
it's
man,
a big
oh,
number.
man.
Isn't it a big number, guys? Like
it's 7 or 8.
8-7, 8-4. But if you have a team that's like, if you're Utah, if you're Montreal, if you're Anaheim, like scoring goals, knows he's better than anybody on this call. It's the hardest thing to do. And so you're like, when that guy is right and in a good mood and sort of healthy, he'll get you 35 in his sleep.
Yeah.
He's got
2 years. 2 years at 8.7, guys. So
it's worth sniffing around, but there's one thing that's missing, and his desire to play hockey. He's got to like playing hockey, and he just he's that guy that older guys used to say, Johnny. They love everything about hockey except hockey itself. That's concerning.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he is still in the. He hasn't officially been sort of announced out of the assistance program, so hopefully he found some peace with that, and maybe he's going to find a way. But I guess he's sort of a wild card guy who's out there, Hayes, that forgotten. He wants to get traded. Columbus wants to trade him. That would be one. And the other one might be, well, two. I'll give you two other ones, all right? Nazem Kadri. Like, the way Calgary's unloading players, does Naz want to play there for 5 more years?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I know he got the contract and he maybe sort of backed into Calgary as a place to go for that big contract. But, you don't want to be playing 33 to 38 on a team that's going to be the bottom 5 in the league, which is where they're headed. Right? So I wonder about him. And the other one, Noodles, with Saros' extension, can someone fly Askarov out of Nashville for a pick or top players? That could be something that could happen in the next couple of days.
Yeah, but for sure, I think you could trade for Askarov, but what you're doing is trying to, if you're a young team up and coming, this is your future starter. If you believe that that's your guy, so
this guy's been the Russian Carey Price for 8 years.
And he's never lost in the minors this year. He was like that team never lost.
Yeah.
Like I keep looking this weekend, guys. I look at Utah, the Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah.
They have $43 million in cap space. They don't have a single defenseman signed, and they need a goalie. And they have 8 picks in the first 3 rounds. Sounds like a recipe for some action.
You would think.
I would like that idea.
And a new owner, motivated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, with Naz, like we talked about him earlier, the idea of him, would he be a fit in Toronto? Can you see Kadri in the Leafs making sense?
Did you get them to eat 2.5?
Well, if they eat that kind of
4.5?
money, then that's a different story. Because he's making $7 million for the next 5 years, and he'll be 34 when the season starts.
4.5 though. If you can get them to eat 2.5,
I like that.
Get him to Pac-Man 2.5, chomp, and
what are you giving for him?
We'll give you a little something.
Well, they would want youth, right? They're looking for
would want
picks and
Timothy
prospects.
Liljegren, picks, anyone but Cowan and Minton, Nick Robertson. I don't know.
Take it all.
Yeah, I mean, depends
I agree, but Calgary's not going, geez, I want to take guys that you can part with. You're if you're giving a player that can help your team get better.
They just traded Mangiapane for a second rounder.
I think they were clear. It seems like they're clearing the deck for something else, don't you think? That money? Maybe a younger player to sign?
But the money they have available should only be spent on acquiring more young assets. I'll take a crappy contract and a good young player. Do not go sign Lindholm or not Lindholm back, but Gensel, or like, don't go sign good players because your team's not good enough. So you just take that money, weaponize it, and go keep getting younger and better and stockpiling young players. So if Mangiapane, a 35 goal scorer from a couple of years ago, gets dealt for a second rounder, part of me thinks they would be happy to have Naz off the books, even though they like him as a player, like him as a person. I'm not saying that, but just given where they're going, flushing out the money is reward enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there'll be lots of. That's why I think there's going to be lots of moving parts, Johnny. I think it's going to be.
I'm holding
busy
you to
weekend.
that, Noodles. I love that idea. I support it. I just want to see it actually come to fruition here.
Yeah.
But all right, Johnny. We'll see what comes with the draft tonight and free agency on Monday. We'll see you Monday at 11 a.m.
All right, boys. Happy Canada Day. Have a safe and happy long weekend. 11 a.m. We'll see you then.
You got it.
Yes.
Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Check out Maple Toyota's huge truck and SUV lineup, including Tundra, 4Runner, Highlander, and Grand Highlander, in stock and ready to deliver. Visit mapletoyota.com. Chris Johnston coming up. Feels like he's been in Vegas for a week and a half.
Yeah.
Draft tonight at the Sphere. I don't know. It was pretty cool last night. The award shows are what they are, but the Sphere's pretty cool.
You can't do the comedy thing. It's enough
can't
with the
either.
comedy.
It's terrible.
It's painful.
So
it's painful.
Just, honestly, call me, and I'll help you set up a show that's about the NHL awards. Is a different beast. The funny crap does not work. It never has, and it's crazy what they're doing.
It's cringe-worthy. And you know what? When I in 2008, when I won that award, it was Ron McLean, and it was downtown Toronto at the York or whatever. Like, it was just you go
classy.
up, you make a speech. It was
that's
black
all
tie,
you need to do. Get Ron back on the stage and just put a tux on him, and it's respectable, and everybody gets their trophies and they go home. They've turned that into a circus, and it's embarrassing. I'm ashamed. It's embarrassing.
Oh, it's brutal.
It's
pathetic.
That guy, even I felt bad for that
when he had the fake beard on, I had it on mute. I had it on mute. I'm like, this guy's got a fake beard on. And he thinks grown adults are going to find this funny.
No, stop the garbage. It's nonsense. It's the NHL, and it's a big night for a lot of guys. Put Ron back up on a tux.
Yeah.
And stop the nonsense because
give.
There's nothing funny about it. Unless you get Jim Ralph or Jerry D up there, stop this crap.
No.
It's so embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. How does this come across somebody like Gary's or desk and they look over this and say, yeah, we got to go with that? That is nuts. That is nuts to do that.
Who's the guy who did the
no disrespect.
Who's the guy who did the Oscars or whatever? The comedian from England.
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, that was the Golden Globes.
Golden Globe.
But
that would be the only guy that I would watch.
Of course, because he's a real comedian. The problem is you're dealing with a horrible crowd. Let's be clear. All these guys are too cool. Kucherov, Bedard, like all of them. They're young. They don't want to look like they're laughing or having a good time. That doesn't help. The athletes don't help. They just want to go about their business and get out of there. They're too cool for school. So they don't want to be in on bits. I don't blame them. But they're in their off season. They're just there to do their thing. If they lose, they're not in the mood.
There's a guy with a beard on.
Yeah, I had it on mute. I'm like, this guy's got a fake beard and he's trying to do a bit, and it's just horrendous.
I was dying, but in a bad way, like an awkward way. I was
so cringy.
Laughing the whole time.
So cringy. All right, CJ, Dear Hazy being an hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
That's the stuff, Hazy. That is a good tune.
I told you.
That is a tune. Hazy, wait till your kids get older. My daughter brought her friend over from Collingwood, and at 4 o'clock, obviously, she's like, my dad has to work downstairs, and Juju, I don't think she knew what I did, and I'm just down here screaming. She must be like, what is this guy's job?
Right.
Like, your dad, she's in the living room. She must be like, that's what his job is, that what he's doing down there,
mortified.
Yelling at Mike Johnson, and it's
yelling about Sam Reinhart on Canada's team.
Marner and Sam Reinhart.
Yes.
All you care about is points. Like, we're yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
So funny.
That's very reasonable. I've had situations like that. We all have,
Yeah.
And you're trying to explain what the hell you actually do, and
it's hard to explain.
I guess you just got to watch. You got to see it to believe it sometimes.
Yeah.
Including something you talk about seeing to believe. Is he at the U.S. Open, the Seniors Open? There was a guy who had back-to-back aces.
On a par 3 and a 4?
Unreal.
No, it was back-to-back par 3s, which is a goofy layout for a course.
Are you sure, dude? I've never seen that in my life.
That's the card I saw today.
Yeah.
Was that the guy, he had back-to-back hole-in-ones, and they were both par 3s. Which
And then he didn't have any. What did he had bogeys the rest? Like
bogeys the rest of the way to close the 9 out. Like he
no
shot
pars.
like 39 on the front with 2 hole-in-ones.
Oh, my God.
Like, do you know how hard that is to describe? I had a hole-in-one. Actually, I had 2 hole-in-ones. Wow, what'd you shoot? 29 on the front? No, 39.
40.
Yeah, 40.
Hayes, you're one of the only guys, like, you don't have a hole-in-one, do you?
I don't. And I don't think I've been particularly close.
At least you're honest, man. Because every other golfer is like, man, like I've hit 100 to like an inch.
No. See, what I do, everyone does this. Oh, it's tracking. That's a famous golf guy comment, right? Oh, that was tracking. Hey, if that's in the summer, that's right in the hole. It would have picked up steam. I get a lot of those, like the gratuitous, like pat on the back, say, hey, man, that was right at it. But it's like you missed it by 8 feet. Like you play enough golf, you're going to have shots that are going at the pin and you feel good about. But I can't recall one where I thought that's in, or I got up there and it's like literally you're an inch away from that going in the right direction. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get one. That's the worst thing, is you can play golf forever. There's guys on tour. Like I think Xander Schauffele said he just had his first hole-in-one like a few years ago.
And there's other tour pros that have like 42.
Right.
Really?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there's guys, Joe Biden's probably got 10,
Well, Trump playing by himself's probably got 60. I'd love to know that. How many hole-in-ones does Donald Trump have?
See you swing, I know you swing.
Didn't Kim Jong-un or whatever say that he had like a perfect game or something?
Yeah, he shot like a 38 or something. He had like 15 hole-in-ones and
like just
something
ridiculous.
And like that's when you know that there's a certain amount of fear surrounding you when you go out and play golf and your cronies are telling the world that you shot a 38. Which again, like if you're gonna fake it, say you shot a 68. You can't say you had 14 hole-in-ones or something. Like no one's gonna believe that. You guys want to hear the full Trump clip here? Where
on his golf?
Yeah, well, because we didn't play the part earlier about the club championships. Like that's how it got started, was him trying to convince the country, and I guess by extension the world, that the reason he's in great shape is because he golfs and he's still a very good golfer. So here's what he had to say.
Even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in. It's not even senior. 2 regular.
All right, so that's enough. Yeah, that's how it got started, and then it went back to Biden where he goes, I'll challenge you, and I was down to a 6, and I've seen your swing. I know your swing.
I'll say it again. For those two gentlemen to get involved in those type of discussions on that format, on that stage.
It's wild.
People
it's
in
wild.
the United States must be thinking.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Who on earth? One guy's not even conscious and the other guy's a lunatic. It's just, how do you make a selection?
I'm telling you,
I know you swing.
That's the better part.
Must-watch TV. Here's Biden. This is apparently...
This goes backwards. He was a 6. Yeah, when I was in the White House as a, vice president, I got my cap down to a 6.
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
That's what the funniest part was. Is he was just like,
I mean, Trump seems to be actually a legitimately pretty good golfer. He obviously, we've seen videos of him picking up 10-footers and saying that's good, and he obviously cheats. Like it's without question. A guy his age is not winning a club championship at a real course. Never. Like it's just there'd be a 20-year-old there that could shoot 65 in his sleep. Trump's not beating that. Like, it's not happening. No. A club championship is not a net championship. Like, that's stroke play. Never, ever, ever is he winning those tournaments. So, I mean, it's very clear that he's lying about that. But he does have a decent swing. He's hit some okay shots where everything we have in terms of access of Biden's swing and his shots, they're all pretty terrible. So, There's no way he was ever a 6. I got to side with Trump on that. I will give him that. He's right that Biden's lying about being a 6.
It just that
no chance.
It just I laughed and because all I could think of was this show. I don't know why. All I could think of is you two arguing. Like I say, I 50 years from now, 30 years from now, and you brought up the greatest point, Brian, where it's like you shoot left, and I've seen this and I've seen that. When
they're
you were
stealing our material. Literally stealing our material. I take that personally, that the two of them are trying to win an election based on our material. We own that. Chirping about golf and our handicaps and swings, that's how we roll, not these guys.
Yeah.
All right, Chris Johnston coming up. Dear Hazy B at 6:30. Jays Yankees tonight down at the Rogers Center. Marcus Stroman on the mound for the Yankees. Yusei Kikuchi for the Jays. We'll tee that up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, Best Bets brought to you by FanDuel later this afternoon. Revenge game for the Argos tonight. Argos Alouettes down at BMO. Last time these two teams played at that building or at that stadium, it didn't go so well for Chad Kelly and the Argos.
Yeah.
That was ugly, man.
That was their worst game of the season by far.
They were brutal. They got crushed, and Kelly had the worst game he had all year. Chad Kelly's season was just unbelievable. And then they got to the playoffs, and they were such a huge favorite. I want to say they were a 13, 14-point favorite. Maybe more than that. That's probably extreme, but it was definitely a massive spread. And not only did they lose, they got blown out. It's really, really ugly. So the Argos, they're 2-0. They're looking for a revenge game tonight against the Alouettes down at BMO. Beautiful night, too. It's going to be a great one for that. And we had Rowan Barrett on yesterday, and I guess this is what he was driving at because we were asking him about who's available for the team and dealing with teams, and he mentioned that sometimes it can be tough to kind of try to get permission for a player to even play or be a part of the camp, and in order to get permission, you have to go through the team. And now the reports out there, I think the Star are reporting that Andrew Wiggins is not going to be a part of this because Golden State won't allow him to play.
Come on, man.
Which is so ridiculous. And it also makes me wonder, really? I know they want to move off him. That's the belief in the report is that they want to trade him. But he's got years left on his contract. It's not a contractual dispute.
Well, what about other players on G State? So no one on G State's playing?
Of course they're going to play.
So what the hell are they talking about?
Well, that's why, again, the conspiracy theory is are they shilling for Wiggins because he doesn't want to play? I don't think so. I mean,
it's a possibility, Hayes, because that's your one way out of it if you don't want to go. Because there's been issues with him in the past, hasn't there?
Yes.
And you could say, can you tell Canada that I just you're not letting me go? So then there's no blood on my hands.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but it does make you really wonder, why would Golden, of all the players, again, I get it. If a guy's coming off a bad injury, that will happen. That happens. That happened with Jamal Murray.
I smell a rat.
Yeah, or if you're in a contract negotiation or something, but he's got a couple of years left on his deal, and he's a veteran that won a championship with them. You would think they'd be like, go ahead. If anything, boost your value so we can deal you. Go over there and play great. So, it sucks for Canada. But again, like Rowan Barrett said yesterday, and we loved hearing from him, his approach is if you're not with us, see you later. We are moving on.
Right.
And the fact is these guys, Canada, they're going to have a pretty stacked lineup. And, that was another one of these things I was going to throw out. Looking ahead to Labor Day, a little confirm or deny on Labor Day. Do you think we'll be talking about this Canadian basketball team, the men's national team, winning a medal at the Olympic Games?
Definitely a possibility. I don't know if it's a gold medal, but I think it's a possibility. I think it's a realistic possibility, too.
I think it should be the expectation. Gold, I think, is rich. The Americans are going to bring the heat here. Spain's always good, usually Brazil, Argentina, Greece can play. There's a number of different teams. I'd have to look to see who's in the competition altogether. But we know the Americans are going to be the heavy favorite and should be.
Yeah.
But I'll confirm that I think we'll be talking about them winning a silver or a bronze. Yeah. I think
that.
I think they're moving in the right direction here. So I'm on that. I'm on a confirm. That this is what's going to happen with the national team.
I'll confirm that they should be, and that should be the expectation, shouldn't it? I mean,
yes.
You
look what we did at the World Cup last year.
Exactly.
I mean, they finished third and they beat the Americans.
Yeah. Now, the Americans are bringing the heat this time, though.
You think Bronny will be on that team?
Oh, come on, dude. Some guy sent us a note saying, stop talking about Bronny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bronny's a big topic because it's LeBron. That's all it is.
His jersey's available online. You can buy it right now.
Somebody sent out the projected starting Lakers lineup, and it was LeBron and Bronny on it. I'm like, this is insane.
It's just not like it can't happen.
No, did you see that with the picks of all? And Bronny,
no,
Bronny had number 6 on, and LeBron had 23. I'm like, oh my god.
I did not see that. But again, as we discussed yesterday, the idea of JJ Redick having to handle that. Guy's got no coaching experience at all. Now he's got Bronny James on his team with LeBron there running the show. That'll be fun. Good luck to JJ. You'll figure it out on the fly. All right, Chris Johnston, Dear Hazy Beat coming up. Best bets as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.